with a username like that. I'm really happy. Okay, let's get into Vampire, the Masquerade Bloodlines here. I'm going to be playing this Nosferatu character. I'm going to be playing as the female model because the female model moves faster for whatever reason. It just does.
That's sexist.
I'm going to take a whole bunch of skills that are really helpful. Such as like my persuasion into 3, lockpicking 4. It's good stuff here. It's good stuff. What else do you have to know about this game? It's kind of like it's based off of a source engine, so it's a source engine kind of game. So we're gonna see like some Half-Life movement. It's also really mashing based because I gotta mash through like a whole bunch of dialogue. You'll see. Cool. Totally not cheating or anything.
Hello, LA.
Alright, so we skipped the first quest. And in the first quest we would have got a lockpick, but now we don't have the lockpick. So we gotta go buy one. That's the first thing we're gonna do. Now right here displays something interesting about Bloodlines, which is every single time you go into a loading zone, it has a fade in time where like a whole bunch of scripts won't really work and stuff real quick. You know what I'm saying? And you can do stuff during that time that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do, like walking to that alleyway before the bum talks to you. Hey, it's the Onyx Path. What's going on? You stopped before heading out for supper? That's unfortunate. Well, thanks for stopping by. The Onyx Path is pretty cool. They do like publishing work for White Wolf. If you like Vampire the Masquerade and stuff, they got more stuff that you can get into. Cool dudes. Alright, so this first quest right here is you're supposed to get the Astrolight, which we use to blow up a warehouse. And usually you're supposed to open that door after you get a key from Mercurio. But instead what I'm going to do is I just circle jumped, which is a Half-Life thing where I go like a little bit farther than I'm really supposed to go. And I jump over it when I'm not supposed to. And then the Astrolight happens to be right inside that window, so I can just kind of jump right in there and grab the Astrolight and I'm out. You notice there's like some numbers at the top right of my screen. You know, the first is obviously the frames per second that I'm getting. You'll notice like I'll be switching sometimes because the physics doesn't always work. Like if I open doors and I want to run through them, I have to switch to 60 FPS. If I want to like right here, I'll do it. And then switch back. If I want to interact with like physics objects, I'll have to like switch to 60 FPS. So I just have 2 keybinds for that. So right now, you know, he wanted me to go get the Astrolight. I got the Astrolight. So I talked to him twice instead of having to like go in, talk to him, go do the quest, come back, talk to him, you know. I just talked to him twice. And then since this is any percent, we're not getting him anything. So we just leave afterwards. Alright, here's Jeanette. The character who may or may not have been responsible for ruining Harley Quinn's image. Who was cool by herself, you know what I'm saying? So we don't want anything to do with her, because that would be slow. Good old PC speedrunning. Here's a good example of PC speedrunning. So there's this argument going on, but we're going to skip it by quick saving and reloading, which opens the door. Now we have to be polite to Therese. Because that's important later. These elevators are really wonky. If you use them too quick, they'll like glitch out, and then you have to press the button again, and it's slow. So I gotta like give it a second. You know, let it work itself out. the heck am I going? I'm just scaring people, that's what I'm doing. That's one of the perks of playing Nosferatu, is you get to scare people a lot. Alright, traveling through the sewers. One of the benefits of being Nosferatu is they get 3 blood points off of every rat that they feed on, which is a ridiculous amount. Rats can only ever have 1 blood point, and whenever you feed on anything, you immediately get 1 blood point. So what you can do is something called fast feeding, which is where you feed on something and then immediately stop feeding on it, and you'll get that nice 3 blood. It's pretty cool. That really sucks. I used blood buff for no apparent reason. Twice. Or again. Oh, can I get through the door? So that's what happens when you don't switch the FPS. The door likes to argue with you, and try and make you do things that you wouldn't be able to. So at the beginning of this level, you're supposed to get sucked down into it. And instead, what you can do is you can jump, and when you jump and then crouch, your entire model moves upwards, which is also partly how we got over the fence from Mikurio's quest. And it lets us like skip the trigger for getting sucked downwards, and instead it like flings us forward, which is kind of cool. So we skip like that whole half of the Ocean Hotel. Now this room's kind of weird. The trigger for this is that this thing will hit the door, but we have to take damage first. So I'm going to wait for this pot to hit me, right in this position, because it'll fly off in this direction every time. Boom. And wait. It flies, and then we're good. That's pretty much exactly how that's supposed to go, so that's cool. Now just some fun dodging of quests. Maybe I could boost it here. Nope. Oh, okay. Now we have to take a whole bunch of damage. Which is pretty shitty in that one room when we have to take damage anyways. If you take too much, you can lose some damage on the hallway of pain. There's Ghost Girl to see us off, and we're out of there. So by opening and closing the inventory menu, or like the character screen or anything, you will cancel out the fade in at the beginning of the levels. And that was a really nice pipe. Sometimes you don't jump into there quite like that, and it's a lot slower. Alright, so Jeanette wants the pendant. We're not going to give her it. She wants us to go slash some paintings. We're not going to do that either. And so we leave. So now the game wants us to leave to go do that quest, but we're not doing the quest, so we're just going to go right back inside. And now Therese will want to talk to us, because she'll be there instead. She's super pissed.
Shut. Don't lie. Excellent. Jeanette is only. I asked. I want to see my sister.
That was a soda bottle, by the way.
Once I've spoken with her myself. Just do what I ask.
Getting hydrated right now.
Are you the half-coordinated?
I don't know what that means, but sure. Alright, so now we gotta go into this here diner. We'll save. Why not? Go to save. Basically, we want to kill all of them but one. And we want to feed on the last guy. And for whatever reason, feeding on the last guy typically makes it so that the cops don't show up. Now we answer our phone.
I'm terrible.
And we leave. Good. Make sure we don't spook anybody too hard when we leave. Alright, now we have a really long conversation to get through. First I'm going to save, because it has a tendency to soft lock. I need to get 4 persuasion. So I'm going to up my charisma there.
Don't listen up. Shut up! You never do.
Boom,
Isn't it
nice blue
romance?
dialogue
You
options.
don't you want to shut? Don't. I'm taking. Is that? She's a and you're. I don't think trust father love.
This is one of the longer dialogues to mash through in the game.
As I would. Why? True, Jeanette, if you
Yo,
do
sick pyramid,
more,
Jim
of
Freak.
course.
You did it.
But I only do it, and you. If she would. Yes. When I was be happier.
The good thing about saving both of them is that you get warped out of this place, so you don't have to ride the elevator again, and you also get an extra experience point, which is really useful later on. The experience route for this is actually really tight. We barely will have enough for level 5 obfuscate at the end, but we really need it.
Yes. Here. You're ready.
He likes to give us a book that we're never going to read. Alright, so this is the warehouse. The warehouse has a kind of a bit of randomness to it. The first area is kind of whatever, but the next area has a room where there's these 2 guards, and they could either be in the first room or the second room. It's better if they're in the first room because I can trap them in there. And then there's another room after that, and there's a couple of different setups that they can be at, but some are more advantageous than others. Like, this is ridiculous. I don't know what the fuck's up with that. So I armor this bomb, like, they can't hit me because I'm in this, like, desk, pretty much. So now let's see what we get. Okay, this is okay. No one in front of the door. Alright, now this guy, he isn't, like, real or solid until he gets, like, closer in there. Alright, I'm gonna save right here. This box explodes. That wasn't a very good explosion, though. Like I said, alright, we'll go with that. You can get much more speed off of that. It's really tricky, though. You have to land in, like, just the right space. It's pretty damn precise, and I haven't been able to make it work all that great. But you can, like, fly across the train cars in the most, like, optimal scenario. But that lets you skip a small section where you have to, like, run around a train and you're supposed to, like, fight someone.
I see. Tell me. Most of my pleasure.
Alright, so now we tell Beckett that, you know, nothing, and we move on. Coming up is one of the best cutscenes in the game. It's unskippable, so it's the best. So we get out of the sewer, right? Or did we get out of the sewer? Which one did we get out of, chat?
Let's drain it.
Did we get out of the sewer?
Let's take it and
Or
leave
did we
it
get out of
for
the taxi?
sunrise.
I mean, it makes sense that we got out of the sewer, but why was the taxi there then?
Think you could blow up our warehouse and get away with it? Ah, lick.
If you didn't take the taxi, why did you close the taxi door?
I want its teeth. Cameron.
But if you took the taxi, why was I just in the sewers?
Boys, I think we could all use as a little entertainment. Those of you sitting in the first few rows will get wet. Son of a bitch!
Yeah, what's up, those crazy guys?
Leave.
Which of the two guys is crazier?
3 of us, Rodriguez.
Or are there, like, more than 2?
3 of us.
What are you gonna do? Shoot us? This ain't over. We'll find you. You too, Rodriguez. You're both dead. Nobody messes with a Sabat and lives.
Keep moving. Trouble sure seems to like you. Good effort. Execution needs a little work. You look like shit. Want me to do? That's what. This is a mean existence.
One thing I should mention is that
Stay
when
out
you
of
mash
trouble,
through text, like, the very first thing that they say can be skipped entirely if you're already skipping to an option. Alright, so now we gotta go to the last round. We gotta talk to Mr. Nines again. And Skelter, because he's gonna interrupt us rudely at the top of the stairs. And we're not gonna talk to Damsel, which breaks my heart every time.
You got it right. Hey, sir. Kid, I don't.
We'll see her though. Hi, Damsel. Skeletor. Oh. Sometimes I forget to go to the sewer. Sometimes. This happens to me. That is a damn good choice, Andy. Let me just say. So there's 3 blood for 1 blood. We'll do it again. That's about how much blood you would probably get from, like, feeding on an NPC. But it was way faster, which is pretty nice. So now here's the best part about Officer, is that Nosferatu, they get to skip Officer Chunk. It's one of the best parts about playing Nosferatu, is they get their own private elevator up here, because they're too ugly.
How? Now, good. There's a boat waiting for you on the beach in Santa Monica.
The other cool thing is that when you go through the sewers, there's usually a ladder behind you, which you can use to, like, kind of boost yourself forward, which is really nice. Oh. I agree. Troika is a cool company. Alright, so now we have to go to the Elizabeth Dane. This is where the Nosferatu are at a disadvantage in terms of the route. Normally what we would do is we would talk to the inspector dude who's gonna incessantly talk to us the entire quest. This guy. But we're too ugly to do that. So instead, we have to go get the police report, which we would have otherwise got from that guy for free, from the table that is outside, which is surrounded by a whole bunch of guards, and it can actually be a pretty hard thing to deal with. So I will save. There's the police report. Okay, that guy was a dick. Now I have to inspect the sarcophagus. Okay. Which I just did. Wow. Oh, I was just about to say, wow, I haven't taken that much damage. Alright, so I used two blood packs. Not the greatest, but whatever. through these doors.
Sorry,
Hope this guy doesn't kill me for whatever
thought
reason.
you were someone else.
Alright, we out of there. Back to the sewer. I don't know why the rats are all over there, but whatever. Good enough. Oh, there was a rat right there. Dang. Dang, dude.
I've said all I need to for now.
Does this run have RNG? Yes, it does. Some enemies can be in different places and stuff. Some setups work better than others sometimes, you know?
Those visible? Yes. Yes. When we hear from Grout, we may come back.
The coat flip. That is not RNG. That happens every time. Alright, so now we gotta go to Grout's. We gotta talk to Not Nines.
No. You should be.
Grout's Mansion's a little weird. These guys over there trigger these guys with the headaches from like doing anything. So once I solve this really elaborate puzzle, I'll have to Raven the dude out there. Oh, he's gonna be a super huge dick. What the heck? Basically, the key to that puzzle is that his light that guy is turning has to be on. And then what it is, you can just spam that. Alright, cool. Those guys in trigger. Oh, I was explaining my the numbers in the top right. I only really pointed out the FPS, really. The other important things to mention about that are the camera position, which is third from the bottom. That'll come in handy when I'm doing a kind of really long skip later on. And then player velocity, like the higher I'm going, the faster I'm going. It's kind of like a tells you how fast I'm moving in general. So before, when I was in that hallway and I like nailed that dude with the punch, normally what you do is you throw out a right punch, but if you move, oops, okay. Normally you throw out your right hand, but if you move your cursor to the left side of the screen, you will throw a left, and the left actually sends enemies flying, whereas the punch will only like stagger them down a little bit. So you can skip having to throw the right punch when you do that. Makes getting enemies out of the way a little bit quicker. Oop, okay. When I go through this door, I'm gonna jump, and I'm gonna... Hopefully I can move. Okay, there we go. Raven that guy. This is really important to get kind of out of the way, but I need to get that because... And here is 2 Elder Vitae or blood packs, a blue blood pack, and then I think 1 regular or something like that. And I really need the Elder Vitae for later in the run. Oh, what a dick. I hit the wall. Super awesome. Okay. Alright, that didn't go quite as planned, but, you know, it's all good. Alright, eventually we'll be able to see Grout's wife. And there she is. Alright, so Grout's dead. Now explosions. Okay, we just gotta bunny hop through this here hallway. And we out. Oh, there we go. Whenever you walk into this place, you want to be standing up because you're just going to walk into the elevator pretty much. But then whenever you leave, you want to crouch because then you can get up onto the ladder quick.
I need you to keep up with that. The manifest. Here it is. There is a degree of immediacy attached to this task.
That's why I always crouch into the pipe pretty much. And back up into it and then get hit forward a bunch. Alright, time for the museum. Museum's pretty straightforward. Oh. It does have a little bit of randomness to it though. If they want to be super cops, they can shoot me out of that lockpicking scenario right there, which really sucks. I want to make sure I save this blood buff by using it on this door before it runs out.
Hey, hold it!
Alright, well, this guy. Alright. That guy can be like in that hallway, or he could be in the other hallway. And that depends sometimes. And then right here, I need to Ravens this guy. I want him to walk forward. Nice, he did. I don't know if, like... I don't really know who exactly, like what makes him run forward. Sometimes I think it's like the twist I do, but I don't really know.
Oh, what? No. Oh.
Bloodhound. At least, like, still. Stop!
Croy gets mad at us.
I want him. Then I thought it would be fine.
Alright, we're on to Hollywood. Get some more blood.
Consider yourself a welcome guest in my barony. Welcome to Hollywood.
If you don't wait for him to finish out that whole dialogue, he'll just say it again, or like start from like somewhere random in the middle of that sentence and start saying it again. So it's better just to wait it out and make sure he says it all. Not waste time. So we have to go get a cassette for him, but there's a skip for this that we're going to be doing. Oh, did I do it wrong? I did. There we go. First we have to go get the info on the first tape. Okay, thank you for blocking me, guy. Didn't even get scared, dude. Oh, okay.
I don't have it. I stashed it someplace. Look, you need to find Ginger Swans. Huh?
He's gonna give us some info. And now we have to do something of a skip.
I'm getting the fuck
So what I'm
outta
going to
here.
do is I'm going to get myself intentionally stuck in a door.
What the?
And then I'm going to quick save. And when the game, when you quick save and reload, while you're permanently stuck, for whatever reason the game will force you to go upwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that to get the second tape early. So first I have to get the info for the first one. Whoa, okay. Now here's the door I'm going to get stuck in. Hopefully this doesn't take me too many tries here. You want to pay attention to my camera position, because that's, yeah, I just went up -15, 2.06, 19, see I'm falling a bit now, 14, yeah I lost it, okay. If you don't do it in like the right kind of order, you won't like, for whatever reason, this is like one of the few doors that is actually finicky and hard to get stuck into. The one door you want to get stuck in. This might be too late. I think it's about 9 quick save and loads. And once you get up to about 50, like I'm at 31, I should be okay now. Once you get up to about 50, you're pretty much stuck in the door, and you're not going to get out. And there we go. Okay. That skip saves about 2 minutes, give or take, over like having to go to the hotel, pick up the key, talk to the guy on the phone, and then going to like actually, you know, enter the cafe. It's a lot easier too. Not only like gameplay wise, but on your ears, because they make a lot of freaking noise. And there's so many of them at this point. Just chasing you and shit. There's still one right here, but, you know, whatever. Now that was really sick object boost that was completely intentional. I do that all the time. And it's common knowledge strat, you know, right there. The tragic thing about the second tape skip, however, is that you still have to go get the first tape. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Sometimes you can, like, crash into those debris pieces so fast that you'll just, like, make them vanish for whatever reason. They just, like, fall into the world or something. So here we had to get the Ginger Swan information, which I got at the computer right before the second tape skip. So it's kind of convenient that it's just like right there. Ooh, okay. Now we get to watch the same cutscene twice.
Hype, so get comfortable.
Woo.
I do have a feeling that whatever's here may be of use to both of us.
That poor, poor girl. Let's watch it again.
And this is no doubt the work of a fiend. Hand me the tape. There might be something on it that will give us some insight into what its motives are.
That's a really good blurb right there. I just want to read that out real quick to the stream. Those crazy guys just said, donating to this marathon is like buying a coffee, except you don't get a coffee, and we pay for part of the hotel cost. Reminder to donate to PreNASA. Thank you. We had a lot of fun. You should attend NASA 2017 if you can. We're gonna have hotel dates soon.
It's almost like we're raising money for the hotel.
Almost. Okay, so now we're done with that guy. He's gonna say some more things, and alright, we're done. Fill up our blood here. We're gonna have our first, like, actual fight now with Andre, the Sumitsi. Andre has an interesting boss strat. He likes to warp around, and it's kind of based on where you're standing, sorta. In theory, it's like it's like that. In practice, it doesn't always work out. First, I need to grab these. Because why not? Okay. Here's Andre. I'm gonna try and stand like right here. No, okay. So normally he would have spawned like closer to where I was actually at, but he instead decided to be a complete dick. Alright, hopefully he's dead. Alright, he's not dead. He's gonna warp one more time. Sure. Alright, now he's dead. I don't know why he likes to do that. Like, he's dead, but he's gonna warp one more time. But whatever. That wasn't a very good Andre fight, but at least I have, like, his movements memorized, pretty much. So I know where he's gonna warp. So just filling up on blood as we go. Now, for a lot of people, this part of the sewers began the worst part of the game. And I can understand your frustration. But in the speedrun, it starts one of the best parts of the game, where you get to go really fast. And there's also a really cool skip, so it's not as frustrating. So, we're gonna go through this door. Normally, we're supposed to keep going and go down a pipe and fiddle with some water mechanics and some like sewers stuff and all that fun stuff. But in version 1.2 official, which we're playing on, this door you can open from the other side, which leads to here. However, the game is confused because it believes when you're going to enter this area that you could have only entered this area from this cutscene, so it just warps you to this cutscene, which is actually closer to where we need to go anyways. And we move on. because that door's down here, but we need to go this way. And that skips pretty much like the whole first section of the Warrens. Guy took way too many hits, but I'm glad that he got stuck on like that. That was really helpful. Shoutouts to that guy. This is jokingly one of the hardest jumps in the game, even though it's just a normal jump. I'm just gonna make sure I save. Okay. Take a whole bunch of damage. And then eat a rat. We're all good. So this area is probably one of the harder areas of the game, but speedrun-wise, it's one of the best areas because you go super fast if you want to. Oh, I don't want to, I guess. Don't you dare do that to me. We're just gonna kick this guy out because he's right now. So I need to get this key. We're shocked that we're only in the Warrens. Well, we're almost done. Oh my gosh. Open that up. Well, at least he made it back in time to watch. Alright, now rarely the game can decide it's gonna just, you know, crash on me right here. So I just made a safety save just to make sure. Alright, so now we're in Gary's zone. I don't like bunny hopping down here, but what are you gonna do? You'll notice that, like, there's supposed to be like some red water right there, but I have the water textures removed because they're really buggy. And everyone who runs should do the same. Just because it can affect frame rates and stuff too. It's stupid. Oh, okay. Get in there.
I think we are.
Alright, so this is Gary.
Exactly.
Gonna ask some questions.
I like. Are you sure? Careful watch. Who? What? Where? Oh, I know. The quake. Even. You have the goat tongues. Of course.
Okay. Oh, okay. So the reason why the Hollywood skip earlier is a little bit tragic is that if we could just use a skip to like skip the videotapes altogether, that like whole getting stuck in the door thing wouldn't matter, and we would just go talk to Gary, and then we'd be at this point. So it'd be nice if we could figure out a way, and by we, I guess I mean me, figuring out a way to do that. But I don't know, man. It's been a couple years now. I don't know if it's gonna happen, really. Can we donate memes? Yes, memes are encouraged. As long as they're good. You know. Refer to the first rule. Before you go about donating any memes. But definitely donate them. Yeah, definitely. Do it up. Okay, ran into a wall. All part of the plan. Oh, okay. So now I'm going to do one of the biggest skips in the game, but it's really hard. The reason it's hard is that like I can't use any disciplines in here because you're just supposed to talk to Ming Zhao inside this building. It's Elysium, I think that's how you pronounce it. But instead I'm going to jump up here and go to this zone that you're supposed to go to like later. Like if you help out Yuki, the hunter or whatever, you come back here and she helps you out and all that sort of stuff. So now I'm going to bait these guys to open that door.
Hey,
And I'm going to run in here. So I can't attack. I just got to pray. Alright, get through. Okay, cool. And now I'm on to the inner place of this lair. I'll give it another save here. He likes to try and slash me, but you know, we're not having any of that. All right, so here's another example of a door that you can open from the wrong side. Normally, you're supposed to like go around and do some stuff, but we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna open up the door. Okay. Here's kind of a wonky part. You have to save and reload for the spikes that come out of the ground right here. Otherwise, you can't move them. All right. So now we're gonna get Obfuscate level 5, which is really useful. We skip a whole bunch of triggers for what would otherwise be a whole bunch of guards right there. And the next area is also gonna be hopefully a piece of cake. Nice. Alright, cool. If you don't take care of the triggers, there's actually like 4 to 5 dudes who will, they'll be like yellow guys like this, but they'll be inside that inner chamber, and they'll just like constantly respawn. It's absolutely awful. These guys are also absolutely awful. They have like fire bows, which deal a hell amount of damage. Like, it's pretty ridiculous in my opinion. Alright. I also have to jump over, there's these like switches, and if I don't jump over the switches, these gigantic blades will come out and slice me up. Alright, I'm gonna replenish my blood here. Okay. Now I gotta put these in the right order. Luckily these are the same every time. Alright, now we're on to Ming Zhao. Take off my Obfuscate. Now this isn't the right conversation. This is the conversation you're supposed to have like when you're leaving a Sabat quest or something like that.
It is of... Yes. Here. I hope...
So now, then the fight just begins normally, because that's what's supposed to happen in here. This has been called the hardest quest ever by multiple streamers that I've watched. What they don't know is that you can just blood beetle through it like this. It's actually pretty easy. Now this is where the Elder Vites come into play. They heal you all the way, they also give you full blood, so you just keep doing this. And I have 2 of them, so... Okay, dead. Grab the key. Now it takes me to the taxi driver, good old Kane. If we go anywhere else, like we could get to some other endings, but the fastest ending is to head up to my boy LaCroix, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna open up the sarcophagus, and that's time, split. How do I split? Make it okay.
Los Angeles at last is
It's 48 something. I know that. Fuck it.
You just gave me a panic attack when you just started like yelling time. I was like,
What
shit.
button is it? What's the button by default on Jai's thing?
Numpad
Is it Balthazar?
1.
Maybe
One?
Lazarus.
It's not working.
I can't remember. I changed it.
It's not mine.